I care about sales and I care about negotiations very, very deeply. So I'll come out of the gate giving you the golden nuggets, everything you need to know. If you only know these two things, you'll be fine in life. When it comes to negotiation, all you need to know is you need to know what your price is and when you need to be willing to walk away. And you need to learn to shut the fuck up once in a while. That's really all it takes. It's not that complicated. The hard thing about negotiating is not the tactics and the strategies and what to say and how to be like super rhetorical about it. What's hard about negotiation is not any tactic or strategy. The hard part about negotiating is the emotional side of things. The hard thing that you're going to have to overcome when you negotiate is managing your own emotions. Nothing else. Managing your fear, your insecurity, your hesitance, all those emotions are going to be what's going to make you either weak and ineffective or effective and successful in negotiating with people. That's really what it is. That's really what it comes down to. So there's two things here. I'll share a few details, and then we're going to go more into tactics. So why do you need to be willing to walk away? You need to be willing to walk away because negotiation at the end of the day is about two parties trying to arrive at an agreement that hopefully some parties go win-lose, right? Somebody wants to get as much as possible, leave no surplus on the table of whatever they want, just take everything. So some people come into a negotiation with a win-lose mind frame and paradigm, and some people try to do win-win. In true reality, there's no such thing as true win-win. There's always, nothing in life is perfectly balanced, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to come to an agreement that at the end of the day is going to create a long-lasting, profitable relationship, not just a short-term transaction, right? That should be your goal when you're negotiating. In most situations in life, you want to negotiate in a way that you don't just get everything and they get nothing, but also not in a way where they get everything, you get nothing. You want to come up to an agreement that's somewhat healthy, slightly tilted towards your side, but in a way that allows for a long-term, good relationship. So here's the problem that the mistake most people make when they negotiate is they come into the negotiation not knowing what their price is. Like, what is the moment where I'm walking away from this? Where this is not a good deal anymore? Where this makes no sense anymore for me? What's that point? What is that point where I say, right, here's the line drawn in the sand and we're not going beyond that? Most people don't set their price before the negotiation. So here's what's happening. You come into the negotiation, and the longer you negotiate, the more invested you are in that deal, the more you care about it, the more work and time you put into it, the less objective you are, and the less effective you are. It's as simple as that. So at the beginning, where you would have said, well, I can only give them a 10% discount. That's my line in the sand. I'm not going to go any beyond that. If you're negotiating with somebody for 12 months or 2 years, I guarantee you don't remember that line anymore. You're just like, whatever the fuck, I just want to close this deal. That 60% discount, they want 80%. You're tempted to give it to them. You just want to close the deal. And that's a very, very bad idea. So what you need to do is you need to decide, what's my price? What's the moment I'm willing to walk away? What is something that does not make sense anymore for us? Decide that early, and you need to manage your emotions when you're trying to tell yourself that, well, maybe I should make an exception here. No exceptions. If you make an exception, you need to redraw the line for every deal, not just for one. So I'll give you an example from closeout days. So in the early days, we draw a line in the sand and we said, you know what? We're not going to do any enterprise sales. And we're not going to do any like crazy deals for any bigger customers that say, you know what? We're such a big company with this huge brand. So therefore, we want all these demands. Because I had a little bit of experience with enterprise sales before. So we decided, this is not going to be how we roll. We are not going to give any discount that goes beyond a certain limited amount. And we're going to treat all customers pretty equally and fair. So if somebody wants some crazy things, no. The answer is just going to be no. So, as always, the universe is testing your resolve. When you say, this is my line in the sand, I guarantee you the universe is going to test you. It's going to send somebody that's very, very tempting to you to change the price that you set to walk away. So what happens is, a few months into it, a really big company comes to us, a really great, like hip startup brand, big brand for us, and they're like, oh, we love the software, we love this software so much, and we're like, well, are you guys sure that you want to buy the software? You might have needs that we can't fulfill. Are you sure this is a good fit? We're not sure. No, we're sure this is perfect. You sure you don't want any customization, any funky things we need to do just for you? No, we're sure. Everything is perfect. And then you know what happens? They start, they start using it more and more. They send us all these great emails about how much of a testimonial they're going to be and a reference customer, and we're going to be able to use the logo and all that shit, and we get excited. And at some point they're like, you know what, there's just this tiny little thing. It's nothing. You really need to do this anyways, right? We're just helping you do it in the right time, which is now, right? We need you to do this little addition to your product. And we're like, no, sorry. And they're like, oh, okay, but we need this other little thing, and you really need to do this, otherwise we can't buy. And we're like, well then just don't buy. We can't do that. I mean, we totally see, that's not what we said. We said, that's a great idea, we totally hear you, it's part of our roadmap, something we want to do down the line, Q3, Q4, it's just not a priority right now, but thank you very much, we'll take it on board and we'll discuss it with the team, but right now this is the product. Like, well, and they did this for 3 or 4 times, coming back with more requests. Just this thing, just that. And we just kept saying no. And every time we said no, somebody in the team was really nervous and was thinking, they're not gonna become a customer, oh my God, we're gonna lose this chance, blah, 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 this and that. You know what happens? Every single time they just came back with, as if we never discussed the prior thing. They're like, we cannot buy if you don't do this. We can't do it. And then a week later, we need this, we really need, and we're like, why are we still talking? Like, you said that you can't buy if we don't do this. Just kept negotiating with us. And then eventually it turned to pricing negotiations. And like, well, your pricing is ridiculous, blah, 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 this and that. Now, mind you, the salesperson working with them has now worked with them for, I don't know what, much longer than our average sales cycle. Average sales cycle might be 6 weeks, this was like 3 months. So the sales guy and I just wants that fucking deal now. Like, he's negotiating for such a long time, he really wants that deal. So they come with the pricing and going back and forth, and eventually in the team we had to have a discussion as a company and step back and ask ourselves, do we really want them as customers? And when we asked that question, the sales guy was like, yes, and one of my co-founders was like, no, and they said it in the same moment. And we're like, all right, maybe this is the moment of truth where we have to decide, do we want them as customers or not? That's a fundamental decision we have to make, and then we can decide about prices and other things. And after, a more reflective discussion, we decided, no, we don't care. It doesn't really matter to us. Like, our business is growing, it's healthy, profitable, who cares? Let's not waste any more time on this. So we just told them no. We just said, hey, we're going to give you this discount because we really love you, which is the discount we give to everybody, at that size, and you take it or you leave it. And if you leave it, hopefully down the line, we're going to be able to work together. You know what happened? It doesn't always work that way, but just a few days later, just auto-magically, with company chat, every time a new customer upgrades, it pops up in there. So they just put in their credit card. They bought anyways. Big customer, 8 or 9 times told us, if you don't do this, we're not going to buy. And then just bought. Happens all the time. I can't tell you how many times somebody tells me they're not going to buy if I don't do what they tell me, and then I tell them they don't buy, and then they go buy. They buy anyways. They just fucking buy anyways. Not always. You have to be willing to lose the deal, right? You have to know what are your principles, what's good and what's bad for my business. But you need to set these priorities early so you don't have to get all mind-fucked for every single deal and have huge discussions in the company with every single fucking deal. Set those priorities early, and then go and execute on them. The hard part is going to be your emotions. You're always going to be like, oh, let's make an exception for this one customer. No exceptions. If you make an exception, make it for all customers. Make it a new principle. How are you going to hire people that do sales if you have to teach them when and when not to make exceptions? It's very hard to scale, very hard to teach. How are you going to look in the mirror and feel like good about yourself or good about that relationship if it starts off? Also, if you start the relationship off by just giving somebody everything they need, do you think that's ever going to stop? You're setting the foundation of the relationship. Do you think if they tell you 8 times, I need something, and you go, okay, that they're going to stop asking you for things? They'll never stop asking you for things. You teach them to be really bad customers. You teach them to be customers that always demand and expect to get everything they want. If you want good customers, you have, just like with children, you have to educate them to be good customers. You have to teach them the boundaries. Teach them this is good, this is bad, here's how we're going to deal with each other. And make sure that it's on eyesight equal, and not you're their servant and they're your master. That's not how it works, at least not in healthy relationships. The shut the fuck up part, there's a whole video about me talking about that, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about that.